So now that we have the connections all functional, we want to start being able to have our top song app say top song and so on, and song title, album title, etc. And remember, we said we could do that if we had a different view controller and each one would have different information. But how can we do that with one single media controller that's going to be able to differentiate between the different scenes? So that's what we're going to start to work on today. And remember that right now we have hard-coded the value um, of media title for that title label text, which means that every time there's a title label, the title is media title, which we don't want that. We want it to be different for each one. So let's go ahead and add another property to our class. Call it var, we'll call it title text, and it'll be a string. And again, we're going to make it an optional because it's not going to be initialized an initial value when we created. So we are going to, let's look at our main storyboard and with our outline. I'm going to select the top song view. It's kind of our first view in our tab bar controller. I'm going to use the identity inspector, which is this one here. I can do option command 3 will get me there. And I'm going to add, see this area here is called user defined runtime attributes. So these are things that I can hard code in for this particular scene and just this scene only. And again, it is done by a key value pair, almost like in a dictionary that we've seen before. So the key, when I add one, is going to be title text, TI, which is the variable we just created. And it's going to be of type string. And the value for this class is going to be song title. Okay, so by using this user-defined runtime attributes, I can say that the variable, I want key path, I want title text. The variable for the value for title text will be song title for this class only. And I can do the same thing for album scene. I'll add this. This will be title text. I'm going to hit return after it, make it a string, and make the value album title. Okay, I'll do the same thing for movie scene. Select movie, add an attribute, make it title text. Oops, make sure I hit enter so it stays. It's going to be a string, and it's going to be, what am I on? Movie title. And finally, I'll do app, add this, title text. It is of type string, and it is app title. So I've created user attributes for each one of those. And now I'm going to update my controller, my media controller, to instead of using media title, I'm going to use the title text. And I'm going to make sure it's an unwrapped optional because there is no definition for it in here. We're making sure that it's defined at runtime, so that's why I have to use that implicitly unwrap it, force unwrap it. Let's go ahead and run this, see what that looks like. We'll let it come up. Notice the song says song title, album title, app title, and movie title. So again, it's pretty cool. We have one controller, but the data is different for each of our views, which is exactly what we wanted. So remember that we had to force unwrap this title text because this was an optional when I defined my variable. Well, if I change this to be forced unwrapped, I can remove the force unwrapping there. It's a minor thing, but it helps a little bit. Let's go ahead and run this. We should see the functionality is the same. Okay. And we see that all the titles are still correct. And so that's one way that we can kind of differentiate between our different views. There's actually another way to do it that's more of a graphical way. So here I kind of had to add a key value pair. Well, there's another way to do it, and that's by using IB inspectables. So let's go ahead and go back to my top media controller, and I'm going to add at IB inspectable to this. And what that does is if I go to my main storyboard, is if I go to my different like top app scene, I'll start with my top song scene. I still have my key value pair, but if I go to my attributes inspector, you see I now have a top media controller area here with the title text created right here. So it actually, by using the IB inspectable, it creates an easy way for me to add the information I want without having to use the key value pairs. So I'm going to go back to my identity inspector, and I'm going to remove this key value pair, go back to the attributes inspector, and make this song title. Go to album scene and delete that, and make this album title. And again, this is just two different ways of accomplishing the same thing. The IB inspectable is nice because it's a much easier way to add attributes at runtime rather than having to do a key value pair. And this is movie title. And this is going to be app title. Let's go ahead and delete that. App. I'll go ahead and run that one more time to make sure that that works. Still says song title, album title, and so on. So again, we've seen two different ways to be able to create user-defined data at runtime. We can either use the key value pair, or we can add an IB inspectable to create a more graphical way of looking at it. This seems to be an easier way, but both are available. Okay, so now that we've started to add some data, we're going to look at how we can populate the song title and artist title with actual online data.